Good morning, everyone, from Ford City, Pennsylvania. This is Chuck King on Thursday, September 16th, 2021, bringing you a morning Bible study. And we've been studying lessons in Proverbs, and we are going to look at Proverbs 21 today. Proverbs 21, verse number 1. The king's heart is like channels of water in the hand of the Lord. He turns it wherever he wishes. This verse tells us that the Lord directs the leadership of nations like the king of Israel. The Lord directs them and gives them his understanding. Of course, that would be if they respond to his direction. Lord directs the king's heart like as if it was a stream, a channel of water. He turns it. Verse 2, every man's way is right in his own eyes, but the Lord weighs the hearts. The pride of man makes him believe that his way of living, his decisions are right. But the Lord looks at the heart, the spirit, the soul of the person and knows their motive and why they're doing what they're doing. Verse 3, to do righteousness and justice is desired by the Lord more than sacrifice. So the religious sacrifices that people make, the religious routines and habits they have are not important. The most important are to actually live righteously and justly. This is what the Lord is looking for, the fruit of obedience to his word. Verse 4, haughty eyes and a proud heart, the lamp of the wicked is sin. Pride, again, destroys. And it is the sin of man and angels that is judged. Pride is the sin of both men and angels, fallen angels. And we know how much the Lord resists the proud. Verse 5, the plans of the diligent lead surely to advantage, but everyone who is hasty comes surely to poverty. You have to be a hard-working person and take advantage of the situation and make the most of your opportunities. But if you're hasty in your decisions and don't make wise decisions, you will fail. Verse 6, the acquisition of treasures by a lying tongue is a fleeting vapor, the pursuit of death. So if you gain material things by falsehood, the judgment of God will soon come upon you. Verse 7, the violence of the wicked will drag them away because they refuse to act with justice. Again, violence in the lives of the wicked brings the judgment of God. Why? Because there's no justice in that. God expects justice, not violence. Verse 8, the way of a guilty man is crooked, but as for the pure, his conduct is upright. So the perversity of a sinner is compared here to the upright conduct of the righteous. It's always about fruit and pleasing the Lord through obedience. Verse 9, it is better to live in a corner of a roof than in a house shared with a contentious woman. This brings lots of laughs to people. It's better to live alone, separated, than to be in a relationship that is contentious, always fighting and battling with someone. Verse number 10, the soul of the wicked desires evil. His neighbor finds no favor in his eyes. So a wicked person is completely selfish and always pursuing evil, ignoring the needs of others. Verse 11, when the scoffer is punished, the naive become wise, but when the wise is instructed, he receives knowledge. When a person who is rebelling against the Lord and his word is punished, it forces that naive person to gain wisdom. But when a wise person is instructed, he gains even more knowledge. Verse 12, the righteous one considers the house of the wicked, turning the wicked to ruin. So the righteous person is trying to change the path of the wicked, but if not, tries to see that they are accountable for their behavior. Verse 13, he who shuts his ear to the cry of the poor will also cry himself and not be answered. One of the many scriptures that direct God's people to care for the needs of the poor. And if we care for the needs of the poor, the Lord will reward us. But here we see, if we ignore the needs of the poor, the cry of the poor, we will reap what we have sown, and we will not have our prayers answered. Verse 14, a gift in secret subdues anger, and a bribe in the bosom strong wrath. So another one of the scriptures talking about a gift giver. When you give a gift, it can cause someone's anger to subside. And when you give a bribe, it subdues strong wrath. Verse 15, the exercise of justice is joy for the righteous, but is terror to the workers of iniquity. The need for justice brings great joy to those who understand. But those who are living in sin, justice brings terror, brings judgment down upon them. Verse 16, a man who wanders from the way of understanding will rest in the assembly of the dead. The judgment upon those who ignore God's word. It will bring destruction to that person. Verse 17, he who loves pleasure will become a poor man. He who loves wine and oil will not become rich. So when you live a luxurious lifestyle, you use up your resources and it makes you poorer. Verse 18, the wicked is a ransom for the righteous, and the treacherous is in the place of the upright. So we have the Lord revealing here that the righteous will prevail over the wicked and over the treacherous. Verse 19, it is better to live in a desert land than with a contentious and vexing woman. Another reference to the brokenness of a couple when they are fighting all the time. And these scriptures blame the woman being contentious and vexing. Better to live alone on a desert land than to live with someone you're always fighting with. Verse 20, there is precious treasure and oil in the dwelling of the wise, but a foolish man swallows it up. So a wise person sets aside supplies, material supplies for the emergency. But a fool just uses it up. Verse 21, he who pursues righteousness and loyalty finds life, righteousness, and honor. So when you seek after loyalty and righteousness, when you pursue it, then you find life, righteousness, and honor. It's another sowing and reaping situation. Verse 22, a wise man scales the city of the mighty and brings down the stronghold in which they trust. So it takes the wisdom of God to overcome others. And this describes the city of the mighty and the stronghold of others. It takes God's wisdom, his skill to know how to do that. Verse 23, he who guards his mouth and his tongue guards his soul from troubles. So you want to stay out of trouble, you want your soul to be healthy, then guard your mouth. Watch what you say. It will defile your soul. Verse 24, proud, haughty, scoffer are his names, who acts with insolent pride. So the prideful, wicked person is proud, haughty, and a scoffer. And we know the Lord resists that person. Verse 25, the desire of the sluggard puts him to death, for his hands refuse to work. The lazy person reaps death because of his laziness. He doesn't work. Verse 26, all day long he is craving, while the righteous gives and does not hold back. So the person who is lazy won't even provide for himself and is looking for someone else to give him something. But the righteous are able to help other people. This is the biblical standard. Work hard, supply for yourself, your family, and even help others. Verse 27, the sacrifice of the wicked is an abomination. How much more when he brings it with evil intent? So when the wicked go through religious activities, it's an abomination to the Lord. It's not received by the Lord. A wicked person's sacrifices are not received. They're actually an abomination to the Lord. And even more so when the motives are evil. Verse 28, a false witness will perish, but the man who listens to the truth will speak forever. So someone who lies will experience the judgment of God. But someone who speaks the truth and listens to the truth, that message will always resound. Verse 29, a wicked man displays a bold face, but as for the upright, he makes his way sure. The proud and arrogant wicked man looks like they're very confident, but the person who walks in righteousness is the one who is secure. Verse 30, there is no wisdom and no understanding and no counsel against the Lord. You see, the wisdom of this world, the understanding, the false knowledge of the human race, the carnal nature of man, inspired by the devil, cannot come against the Lord, cannot be victorious over the Lord. The horse is prepared for the day of battle, the last verse, but victory belongs to the Lord. I think about the insanity of the Antichrist, of Satan and the Antichrist and the false prophet during the final days of the Great Tribulation, as recorded in the book of Revelation, preparing an international army and waiting for the second coming of Jesus to try to defeat him in war. What an insane plan, but it's going to happen. But there's no wisdom or understanding or counsel that can come against the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, because victory belongs to Jesus. So here we have lessons from Proverbs 21, another teaching about our life and conduct, always contrasting the worldly wicked with those who are wise because they have sought out the wisdom and knowledge and the fear of the Lord. Let's continue walking through these lessons and understanding that we will reap what we sow. God bless you. We'll talk about Proverbs 22 tomorrow.